July 1st. Libby had woken up early, knowing they'd be on the first boat. When she tied up the misdemeanor at the town dock and climbed the gangway, the ferry was still a ways off. She headed up the road to the post office. "They're coming in today," Libby shouted to Bev, the station master. "'Bout time. Gwen owes me money." "She still thinks she won," Libby called across the parking lot. Bev rolled her eyes. Libby tossed a wave to Smitty at Bigelow's boatyard. He pointed at the incoming ferry. She gave a thumbs up. After a quick stop at their P.O. box, Libby stood in the middle of Main Street between Anne's gift shop and gallery and the post office, sorting through her mail. Addressed mostly to occupant or either of her dead parents, the mail wasn't, strictly speaking, hers, but it was hers to open and answer. A bill from Remy for an unspecified boating issue. Misdemeanor, $72, handwritten on an invoice form which looked remarkably like a restaurant check from Schooners. A large envelope that declared she might already be a winner, and a note with no envelope. She stared at the small piece of paper creased at the center. Had Patricia sent her a love letter? Libby looked over her shoulder, wondering if Patricia could be staying at the casino. But she wouldn't be. Patricia had made that abundantly clear. The note was small, written in an unfamiliar tight cursive. As she read, Libby held the small piece of paper tighter and tighter. Libby had the urge to eat the note, chew it apart like a beast, like the mother of beasts, to keep this secret in her belly. Thank God I found it, she thought. She had no intention of showing it to anyone. As long as she kept it to herself, it was her decision to make. And it was made. "You send Gwen my way when she's got time." "What?" Libby looked up to see Anne standing in the doorway of her store. "We need to talk about her next show," said Anne. "They're on the early boat." Libby shoved the paper in her breast pocket. "I can send her up." No, let the poor girl settle in." "All right." Libby waved the mail over her head and walked down the small hill to the ferry landing. The ferry bumped and jockeyed its way into the landing. Libby watched the passengers head below for their bags and heard the whoosh of car ignitions. The ramp was lowered, and as the cars clunked their way ashore, the ferry bobbed ever lighter. Once the cars were off, the passengers came next in small, red-cheeked groups. The hour at sea had done them good. Gwen stepped off the ferry first. Libby felt her chest contract for a moment. At 36, Gwen looked just like their mother had when Danny was a baby. Beauty swelled over her. Her hair had grown darker. What was once sandy had become chestnut, and then deeper, like wet earth, the same color as their father's. Gwen had grown it long and kept it tucked behind her ears, as their mother had. This summer there was a different flavor to her. Libby noticed it right away, like a song she couldn't place. There was something slippery and new about her sister. "What have you been drinking?" said Libby as she hugged her. "You look great." "I'm on a frappe diet at the moment, calcium." "And I've been wasting my time on soft serve. Bummer. Where are the Y chromosomes?" The two of them turned to look back at the ferry. Danny and Tom were each pulling a small handcart stacked with coolers and duffel bags. Libby walked down the ramp and took the cart from Danny and hugged him. He sort of leaned against her, his arms by his sides, still acting like a sullen teenager even when he was almost done with college, still her baby brother. "How was the drive?" Libby noticed the three of them exchanged a look. "Long," said Tom. He took the cart from Libby. Libby looked at Gwen, who opened her eyes wide, which meant, "I'll tell you later." On the town dock, Tom and Libby made a small luggage brigade, passing coolers and duffels from the dock into the boat. Gwen sat in the stern. Danny hadn't even gotten into the boat. He still wobbled around on the planks of the float as if he were surfing. "That's everything," said Tom. Libby started the engine. Danny stepped into the boat and pushed them away from the float. The smell of diesel came up strong as the water bubbled behind them.